All right, let's dive into Awaken the Giant Within.
Yeah.
This book is all about, like, taking control of your life,
Yeah.
and really reaching your full potential. And I think that's something we all kind of want to do,
Absolutely.
but it's not always easy to, like, figure out where to start.
Right.
So we're going to break down some of those key insights from the book and hopefully help you figure out how to actually, like, use them in your own life.
It's one thing to feel inspired,
Yeah.
but it's another to actually understand the mechanics of personal transformation.
Yeah.
And that's what Tony Robbins really dives into.
Yeah.
He blends psychology and actionable strategies to create, like, a real roadmap for change.
Okay, so right off the bat, Robbins throws down a pretty bold idea.
Yeah.
He says it's not our circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
but our decisions that truly shape our destiny.
It's a powerful idea
Yeah.
that really challenges the way most of us think about success.
Right.
We tend to focus on our external circumstances. But Robbins argues that our internal world,
Yeah.
our beliefs, our values, our decisions, those are the real driving forces.
So it's not about what happens to us,
Right.
but how we choose to respond to it.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does Robbins support this idea? Does he give any, like, real-world examples?
Yeah, he does. And one of the most compelling stories he shares is about Ed Roberts,
Correct.
who was severely paralyzed by polio.
Oh, wow.
Most people would have given up hope in that situation.
Right.
But Roberts, he decided to focus on making a difference. He became a pioneer for disability rights.
Real?
He even earned a political science degree
Wow.
and founded the first independent living center for people with disabilities.
That's incredible.
So even though his body was limited,
Yeah.
his spirit was unstoppable.
So he really embodies that idea of choosing your path
Yeah,
instead of letting circumstances define you.
exactly. And Robbins contrasts this with what he calls the Niagara syndrome.
The Niagara syndrome with that.
So imagine you're in a barrel
Okay.
heading towards Niagara Falls.
Not a great visual.
Right. But that's how Robbins describes most people's lives.
Oh, I see.
They're just drifting along, reacting to whatever life throws at them.
Instead of consciously steering their own course.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we break free from that? How do we stop drifting?
Well, Robbins argues that our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Okay, that makes sense.
And this forms the foundation of our actions.
Hmm.
He calls this Neuro-Associative conditioning, or NAC.
NAC.
Okay, think of it this way. When you see a commercial for a delicious dessert,
Okay.
your brain starts associating that dessert with pleasure, and suddenly you're craving it,
Oh, yeah.
even if you weren't thinking about sweets before.
That's totally me with those late-night ice cream ads.
Right.
It's like they know how to push my buttons.
Exactly.
But it makes you realize how powerful those associations can be.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can make us crave ice cream at midnight, what else are they influencing?
It's a great question to consider. What are some of your strongest pain-pleasure associations?
Good question.
And how are they impacting your choices? Are they helping you achieve your goals, or are they keeping you stuck?
Ooh, those are some deep questions.
Yeah, and this leads us to another key concept. The power of beliefs.
Beliefs. Okay.
Robbins argues that our beliefs are like filters.
Filters.
They shape how we see the world, and these beliefs can either empower us or hold us back.
It's kind of like wearing those tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Everything looks different depending on the color of the lens.
Exactly. And Robbins tells this story about an amazing teacher named Marva Collins, who started a school for underprivileged kids in Chicago.
Wow, that's amazing.
A lot of people doubted her, but she had this unwavering belief in her students' potential. And guess what? They achieved incredible results.
Really?
Far beyond anyone's expectations.
That's incredible. It really shows the power of belief.
It does. And what's so remarkable about that example is that it highlights how belief can sometimes even overcome external obstacles.
So by believing in her students, she actually helped them overcome those obstacles.
Yes, by creating an environment where limitations were simply not recognized. Collins fostered a belief in her students that ultimately shaped their reality.
So it's not just about positive thinking.
Right.
It's about creating a whole environment that supports those beliefs.
Exactly.
Wow. This is powerful stuff.
It is.
So I guess the question is, what are some limiting beliefs that might be holding us back?
Yeah.
We all have them, right?
We do.
Maybe it's a belief about our abilities, our worthiness,
Yeah.
or even what's possible for us to achieve.
Those are some big ones.
Yeah. And it's easy to let those beliefs hold us back without even realizing it.
Absolutely.
So I guess the challenge is to identify those limiting beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and start to challenge them.
Exactly. And that's where Robbins' idea of constant and never-ending improvement,
Okay.
or CNI, comes into play.
The ain't I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
It's catchy and it's so true.
It's about always striving to be a little bit better each day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about learning new skills.
But-
It's about examining those underlying beliefs that drive our actions.
So how do we do that? How do we examine those beliefs?
Robbins breaks beliefs down into categories.
Okay.
If-then beliefs, global beliefs about people,
Okay.
about ourselves,
Hmm.
opportunity, time, scarcity.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's about taking stock of those beliefs
Yeah.
and asking ourselves, are they serving me or are they holding me back?
I love that. So CNI applies to our beliefs as well as our skills.
Absolutely.
It's about constantly questioning and refining
Mm-hmm.
and striving to be a little bit better each day.
Exactly.
Think about it. What areas of your life could use a little bit of CNI right now?
Could be your career, your relationships,
Yeah.
your health, finances, or even just your mindset.
It's about embracing that growth mindset.
Yeah,
Always seeking ways to improve.
exactly.
And that brings us to another fascinating concept,
Okay.
the mastery of state.
Yes.
Robbins argues that our emotional states are not just passive reactions.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have the power to shape our actions and outcomes.
It's a powerful idea.
Yeah, I read this story about a songwriter who was struggling with writer's block.
Okay.
And he discovered that certain activities like going for a run or listening to upbeat music would consistently shift his emotional state. And suddenly the words would start flowing.
Interesting.
It was like a switch flipped in his brain.
That's a perfect illustration of how our emotional states influence our performance.
Yeah.
And Robbins believes we all have these peak states.
Peak states, okay.
Times when we feel our most creative, focused, and energized. The key is to identify what triggers those states for us
Right.
and consciously cultivate them.
So I guess the question is, what are your peak states?
What puts you in that zone where you feel unstoppable?
And how can you deliberately access those states more often?
It's something to really think about. And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Robbins talks about the magic of question.
The magic of questions. Okay, tell me more.
He believes that the questions we habitually ask ourselves have a profound impact on our thoughts,
Yeah.
our emotions, and even our reality.
So it's not just about the answers,
Right.
but about the questions themselves.
Exactly. It's about taking control of that internal dialogue.
That reminds me of W. Mitchell,
Okay.
the man who was severely injured in a plane crash.
No, right?
He could have easily given in to despair,
Mm-hmm.
but instead, he chose to ask himself empowering questions.
Huh.
He focused on what was still possible, not on what he'd lost.
Wow.
And against all odds, he made an incredible recovery.
That's a testament to the power of our internal dialogue.
If we constantly ask ourselves negative questions like, why am I always failing? Or what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
We're going to find evidence to support those beliefs.
It's like programming your brain for negativity.
It's like using those negative keywords in a search engine.
Exactly.
You're basically telling your brain to find all the reasons why you're not good enough.
Right.
But what if we flipped the script
Okay.
and started asking ourselves empowering questions like, what can I learn from this? Or what am I grateful for?
Yeah.
What's one thing I could do today to move closer to my goals?
Those questions shift our focus to solutions,
Right.
to possibilities and
Yeah.
resources.
So it's like reframing the search.
yeah.
Instead of looking for problems, we're looking for solutions,
Exactly.
opportunities,
Yeah.
and things to celebrate.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is. What are some of the questions you habitually ask yourself?
That's a good one.
Are they helping you move forward? Or are they keeping you stuck?
It's time to become the CEO of your own mind
I love that.
and start asking the right questions.
And speaking of shifting perspectives,
Okay.
let's talk about something Robbins calls transformational vocabulary.
Ooh, interesting.
He believes that the words we use to describe our experiences
Mm-hmm.
actually shape those experiences.
Okay.
For example, think about two different reactions to a frustrating situation.
Right.
One person might say, I'm furious.
Yeah.
Another might say, I'm a bit annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Same situation.
All right.
but vastly different emotional intensity.
Totally.
It's like choosing the right filter for a photo.
Yeah.
The right words can completely change the mood and the message.
Absolutely. I know someone who always replaces "I have to" with "I get to" when talking about obligations.
Ah.
It's a simple shift in language,
Yeah.
but it makes a big difference in how they perceive those tasks.
That's cool.
Robbins encourages us to upgrade our vocabulary, replacing weak, negative words with powerful, positive ones. It's about consciously choosing words that elevate our emotional state
Right.
and empower us to take positive action.
It makes you realize how much power our words have.
Yeah.
Not just over our own thoughts and feelings, but also over how we influence others.
Absolutely.
So pay attention to your language patterns.
Yeah.
Are you using words that drain your energy or amplify your power?
Words or spells, choose yours wisely.
I love that. And speaking of powerful language,
Okay.
let's dive into the world of metaphors.
Right.
Robbins is a master of metaphors.
He is.
He uses them to make abstract concepts relatable and emotionally engaging.
He explains that metaphors provide a framework for understanding complex ideas and evoking strong feelings.
Right. I remember him sharing a story
Okay.
about a man at one of his seminars who felt completely trapped in his life.
Oh, wow.
The man described feeling like he was stuck in a dark, suffocating box, and Robbins helped him shift his metaphor,
Okay.
encouraging him to imagine himself as a powerful eagle soaring above the challenges.
Interesting.
And you know what? The man instantly felt a sense of relief and empowerment.
Wow. That's powerful.
It really shows how our metaphors can either limit us
Yeah.
or liberate us.
So what are your life metaphors?
Ooh, good question.
Do you see yourself as a tiny boat being tossed around by the waves? Or are you the captain of a mighty ship charting your own course?
I like that one.
Maybe you're a caterpillar waiting to transform.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're already the butterfly.
It's about choosing a metaphor that empowers you.
Exactly.
Think about it. The metaphors we choose can shape our entire outlook on life.
It's true.
So it's worth taking the time to find one that really resonates.
Absolutely. And it leads us to another important concept, decoding our emotions.
Decoding our emotions.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Robbins argues that we've been conditioned to perceive certain emotions as negative, which leads us to suppress them or react to them in unhelpful ways.
Right, like anger or sadness.
Exactly. But what if those emotions were actually valuable messengers,
Messengers.
trying to guide us towards a more fulfilling life?
I like that reframing.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing emotions as enemies, we can view them as allies in our journey of personal growth.
Exactly. Robbins proposes a framework for understanding emotions as action signals.
Action signals.
Signals that are trying to tell us something important about our needs, values, and beliefs.
So each emotion has a message for us.
Yeah, for example, feeling hurt often signals a need for connection or clarification. Anger might be urging us to set stronger boundaries or communicate our needs more assertively.
Right.
Frustration could be a sign that we need to change our approach or seek new solutions.
And feeling inadequate might be a message that we need to acquire new skills or challenge limiting beliefs.
It's so insightful to think of emotions as signals that are trying to guide us, rather than just random feelings that we have to endure.
So instead of resisting our emotions,
Right.
we can try to understand them and see what they're trying to tell us.
And Robbins offers practical solutions for each action signal.
Oh, that's helpful.
He encourages us to shift our perceptions, adjust our actions,
Okay.
or improve our communication styles to address the underlying need.
So the next time you experience a so-called negative emotion, take a moment to pause and ask yourself,
Yeah.
what is this feeling trying to tell me?
What action is it calling me to take?
Remember, your emotions are not your enemy.
They're your allies in the quest for a more fulfilling life.
Now let's talk about something that really gets me fired up.
Okay, hit me.
The magnificent obsession.
Ah, yes.
Robbins is a master motivator, and he believes that we all need a goal that is so big, so bold, so inspiring, that it pulls us forward with unstoppable force.
It's about finding that one thing that truly lights you up.
Yeah.
That thing that makes you feel like you're living your purpose.
Exactly. He tells the story of O.J. Simpson as a young boy,
Okay.
boldly declaring his ambition to surpass the legendary Jim Brown's football records.
Huh.
It seemed impossible at the time,
Yeah.
but that burning desire fueled his dedication and ultimately led him to achieve greatness.
It's a powerful example of the power of a truly compelling goal.
It's not just about setting any old goal.
Right.
It's about finding that one thing that truly lights you up. That thing that makes you feel like you're living your purpose.
What is your magnificent obsession?
Good question.
What would make you feel truly fulfilled and leave a lasting legacy?
This is where things get really exciting.
Yeah.
It's time to identify that goal that sets your soul on fire.
And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore how to turn that magnificent obsession into a reality.
Get ready for some serious action planning.
All right.
Me too. So we've got this magnificent obsession, right? This goal that really lights us up. But how do we make sure it's not just a fleeting fantasy?
Right.
How do we turn that dream into a reality?
That's where values come in.
Values, okay.
Robbins calls them guiding stars.
Guiding stars, huh?
Yeah, they're like a compass, helping us make decisions that are aligned with what truly matters to us.
So it's not just about setting goals.
Right.
It's about making sure those goals are aligned with our deepest values.
Exactly.
I mean, what's the point of achieving something if it doesn't actually make us happy?
Exactly. And Robbins tells a story about a woman named Jolie who landed what she thought was her dream job at Disneyland.
Disneyland, wow.
Yeah. She thought it would be amazing, but she ended up feeling unfulfilled.
Wait, working at the happiest place on earth wasn't making her happy.
Nope.
What went wrong?
The job demanded long hours.
Okay.
And she ended up sacrificing time with her family.
Ah, I see.
Which is one of her core values.
So even though she achieved this external goal, it wasn't aligned with what truly mattered to her?
Exactly.
It's a classic example of how achieving external success can feel empty.
Yeah.
If it conflicts with our internal values.
It's a good reminder to check in with ourselves and make sure we're living in alignment with what truly matters to us.
So have you clearly defined your own values?
Yeah, good question.
Are you living in a way that reflects those values?
It's definitely something worth thinking about.
Absolutely. And speaking of internal guidance systems, Robbins dives into another fascinating concept. Rules.
Rules, okay.
Yeah, these are the often unconscious beliefs we have about what must happen for us to feel certain emotions.
Interesting.
So is this like, you know, those unwritten rules we learned growing up?
Yeah.
Like don't talk with your mouth full.
Right.
Or don't wear white after Labor Day.
Well, sort of.
Okay.
But these are more like deeply ingrained beliefs about what we need to do or experience in order to feel happy, successful, or loved.
So these rules are kind of like our personal operating system.
Yeah.
They determine how we react to things and how we make decisions.
Exactly. For example, think about your rules around success.
Okay.
Maybe you believe that you must work 80 hours a week to be successful. Or maybe you believe that success means having a certain amount of money.
Right.
Or achieving a certain status.
I see what you mean.
Those rules can really shape our choices and behaviors, even if we're not consciously aware of them.
I remember a friend who had a rule that she had to be perfect in order to be worthy of love.
Oh, wow.
It created so much pressure and anxiety for her.
Yeah, those kinds of rigid rules can really hold us back. And Robbins encourages us to examine our own rules, especially the ones that are causing us pain. And to consider rewriting them.
So it's like taking a look at that rule book and asking ourselves, are these rules still serving me? Or are they outdated and limiting my potential for happiness and fulfillment?
It's about becoming the author of our own rule book.
I love that. It's so empowering.
And that leads into another important aspect of Robbins' approach, the power of references.
References.
Our past experiences, both real and imagined, shape our beliefs and behaviors.
So it's not just about what we think, but also about what we've experienced.
Exactly. He tells this powerful story about George Bush's near-death experience during World War II.
Oh, wow. I've heard about that.
He was a young pilot, shot down over the Pacific, and barely escaped with his life.
That's terrifying.
He spent hours clinging to a life raft, surrounded by enemy forces.
I can't imagine going through something like that.
That harrowing experience became a defining reference point for Bush. It shaped his perspective on leadership, courage, and the fragility of life.
Wow.
Decades later, as President of the United States, he grew upon those wartime references to navigate complex international crises.
It makes you realize how powerful those pivotal moments can be.
Yeah.
In shaping who we become.
Absolutely.
So I guess the question is, what are the dominant references that are shaping our own lives?
Are they empowering us? Or are they holding us back?
It's a good question to reflect on.
Yeah.
Are we clinging to painful memories that fuel our fears and resentments?
Or are we actively seeking out inspiring experiences
Right.
that expand our horizons and fuel our growth?
It's like we have the power to choose which stories we tell ourselves,
Yeah.
which memories we hold on to, and which experiences we allow to define us.
Exactly. And that brings us to the most fundamental element of Robbins' master system: identity.
Identity, okay.
He argues that our sense of identity has a profound impact on our entire belief system.
So it's about who we believe we are at our core.
Exactly.
This is getting deep.
It is.
We're talking about more than just our names and job titles.
Right.
We're talking about the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of,
Yeah.
and what our role is in the grand scheme of things.
It's about our self-concept, the image we have of ourselves.
And Robbins talks about how our identities can be influenced, sometimes even manipulated by external forces.
He uses this example from the Korean War,
Okay.
where Chinese communists used psychological warfare
Wow.
to try to shift the identities of American prisoners of war.
So they weren't just trying to break their bodies.
Right.
They were trying to break their spirits.
Exactly.
That's scary.
It is a chilling reminder that our sense of self
Yeah.
isn't always as solid as we think it is.
That's a bit unsettling to think about.
Ah.
But the good news is that Robbins also emphasizes that we have the power to consciously choose and shape our own identities.
So we're not just victims of circumstance.
Right.
We have agency.
Exactly. We don't have to accept the labels that others try to impose on us. We can actively define who we are
Right.
and what we stand for.
So how do we do that?
Robbins suggests a powerful exercise.
Okay.
Imagine you're attending your own funeral. Whoa, okay. What do you want people to say about you? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
That's a powerful visualization.
It is.
It really makes you think about your values, your priorities, and the impact you want to have on the world.
And he emphasizes that our identity should be based on something more enduring than fleeting achievements or external validation.
So it's not about what we have or what we've done, but about who we are at our core.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He suggests choosing labels
Okay.
that reflect our core values, our aspirations, and the positive impact we want to have on the world.
So who do you aspire to be?
That's the question.
How can you evolve your identity to align with your highest vision of yourself?
It's a journey of self-discovery.
It is.
And you have the power to choose who you become.
I love that. It's so empowering.
And that leads perfectly into Robbins's call to action.
Okay.
What he calls the ultimate challenge. What one person can do. I like that he connects personal growth with making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
It's not just about improving our own lives.
Right.
It's about contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. He highlights the power of individual action.
Okay.
He shares some statistics about the environmental impact of meat consumption.
Okay.
Did you know that it takes over 2,500 gallons of water
Wow.
to produce just 1 pound of beef?
2,500 gallons for a single pound of beef. That's incredible.
It's a stark reminder of the ripple effect of our everyday choices.
It really is.
Robbins challenges us to consider how our consumption habits impact the planet and to explore more sustainable alternatives.
So it's about looking at the bigger picture
Yeah.
and making conscious choices that align with our values, even in seemingly small areas of our lives.
Exactly. And he points out that even small changes,
Great.
like reducing our meat consumption, supporting ethical businesses, or volunteering our time, can have a significant cumulative impact.
It's like that saying, think globally, act locally.
Exactly.
It's about taking those small steps that add up to big change.
And Robbins also shares some mind-boggling statistics about the potential impact of collective action.
Like what?
For example, he points out that if every American were to volunteer just 5 hours a week, it would add up to over 500 million hours of service per year.
Wow. That's amazing.
Imagine the positive change we could create.
Yeah.
If we harness that collective power.
It makes you realize that even though we're just one person, our actions can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
So what legacy do you want to leave behind?
what positive impact do you want to have on the world?
You don't have to be a superhero to make a difference.
Right.
It's about identifying those areas where you're passionate and finding ways to contribute your unique talents and resources.
And it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Start small. Find something that resonates with your values.
Right.
And take action.
Remember, even seemingly insignificant acts of kindness,
Yeah.
courage, and compassion can create a ripple effect.
Now that we've explored Robbins' principles for personal transformation and global impact, let's shift our focus to the practical side of things.
Okay, I like that.
How do we actually integrate these insights into our daily lives?
Right.
How do we make sure this isn't just another dose of motivational information that fades away after a few days?
So we've explored all these amazing ideas, but it's easy to get inspired, and then life happens and we kind of fall back into old habits.
Right.
So how do we actually make these changes stick?
Well, that's where Robbins's strategies for mastering our time come in.
Time management. Okay.
He argues that our experience of time, it's largely a matter of perception and focus.
So it's not about squeezing more into our already packed schedules.
Right.
But about changing how we think about and experience time.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Think about those times when you get caught up worrying about the past or stressing about the future. Robbins calls these time distortions.
Time distortions, huh?
And they drain our energy and distract us from the present moment.
It's like when you spend an hour scrolling through social media.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, wait, what did I just do?
Exactly.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
I think we all are.
So how do we break free from these time traps?
Robbins suggests a few strategies.
Okay.
One is to practice being more present, engaging fully in whatever you're doing, whether it's having a conversation, enjoying a meal, or simply taking a walk.
Just being in the moment.
Exactly. It's about savoring those little moments instead of letting them slip by unnoticed.
That makes sense. It's easy to rush through life on autopilot and miss those little things that bring joy and meaning.
Absolutely. Another strategy is to be more intentional about how we use our time.
Okay, so being more mindful.
Yeah, that means setting clear priorities, identifying the activities that truly align with our values and goals.
Right, so not just doing things because we feel like we should.
Exactly, and learning to say no to the rest.
Oh, saying no is hard.
It is.
But it's so important.
It is. Think of it like this.
Okay.
You're the CEO of your own life.
I like that.
You have the power to delegate tasks, eliminate unnecessary commitments, and create a schedule that supports your well-being.
That reminds me of something my grandmother always said.
Oh, yeah.
She said, learn to say no without feeling guilty. You can't pour from an empty cup.
She was absolutely right.
Wise woman.
And Robbins emphasizes the importance of planning and scheduling.
Okay.
Not to become a slave to a rigid routine.
Right, I get that.
But to create a framework that empowers us to use our time effectively.
Oh, it's not about being restrictive.
Right.
It's about being intentional.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Think of it as designing a life that you actually want to live. Yeah.
Rather than just reacting to whatever comes your way.
So being proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. And finally, Robbins encourages us to cultivate a mindset of abundance.
Abundance, okay.
When it comes to time.
So instead of thinking, I never have enough time.
Right.
What if we started believing that we can create more time for the things that matter most?
Exactly. It's a shift in perspective.
Okay. But how do we actually create more time?
Well, there are only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
But we can become more efficient with our time. Delegate tasks whenever possible.
Right.
And eliminate those energy-draining activities that don't contribute to our well-being.
So it's about being more selective with our time.
Yeah. For example, what if you could delegate some of those household chores?
Okay.
Or streamline your work processes. Or what if you could cut back on those mindless activities?
Right, like scrolling through social media for hours.
Exactly.
Like clearing out the clutter.
Yeah.
Both physically and mentally. To make space for the things that truly matter.
Absolutely.
And remember Robbins' emphasis on CNI.
Yeah.
We can always be improving our time management skills.
It's a continuous journey of learning and improvement.
So to wrap things up, how can we become more masterful architects of our time?
That's the question.
What strategies can we implement to create more space for joy, fulfillment, and purpose?
Time is our most precious resource.
It really is.
It's up to us to use it wisely.
It's been amazing exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too.
And I'm excited to start putting some of these strategies into practice.
Absolutely. As we conclude this deep dive into Awaken the Giant Within, remember that personal transformation is a journey, not a destination.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
And we all have the potential for greatness within us.
It's time to awaken that giant, embrace the power of our choices, and create a life that is truly extraordinary.
So for everyone listening out there, don't just let this information sit idle.
Right.
Apply it.
Yeah.
Experiment with it. And watch your life transform.
The journey of personal growth is an adventure.
It is.
Embrace the challenges, celebrate the victories, and never stop learning and evolving.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Go out there and awaken your giant within.